So we're living in a world that's basically being rebuilt by artificial intelligence, right? It begs the question, what's the one thing that makes you irreplaceable? Well, today we're digging into exactly that. We're talking about the critical human skills that AI just can't copy. The skills you need to not just get by, but to really, truly thrive. And that right there is the question we all need to be asking ourselves. As AI gets smarter and smarter, the real challenge isn't about keeping up with the tech. No, it's about doubling down on what makes us uniquely human, to finding our own value in this new world of intelligent machines. Okay, so here's the real problem, the tension at the heart of all of this. For decades, we've put technical expertise on a pedestal, but AI is automating those exact skills at an absolutely staggering pace. I mean, something that used to take a seasoned pro years to master can now be done by a machine in, like, a few seconds. This completely changes the game on where we need to be focusing our energy. And that's why we've got to totally reframe how we think about this. For way too long, we've used this term soft skills, right? It makes these abilities sound like they're just a nice to have, an accessory to our real technical skills. But that is a really dangerous mislabeling. These aren't soft skills. They are power skills. They're not some accessory, they are the absolute foundation of value, the thing that sets you apart, and the force multiplier that makes everything else you do that much better. I mean, think about it. You can go learn a new coding language. You can take a course on a new software. But you can't just download empathy. You can't fake real leadership. And that's because these incredibly human skills are so hard to build. And for an algorithm, well, they're pretty much impossible to replicate. All right, so what are these power skills we're talking about? Let's get into it. We're going to break down the 5 core areas that give you that distinctly human advantage.
First up, and this is a big one, we've got empathy and relationship building. You can think of this as the foundation for everything else we're about to talk about. It all starts here.
You know, empathy is really just about getting where someone else is coming from. And in teams that really work well, this ability, what we call emotional intelligence, or EQ, is often a way better predictor of success than pure brain power, or IQ. It's that magic ingredient that lets teams really click, to trust each other and just knock it out of the park. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, it's having the emotional intelligence to read a room. It's the cross-cultural competence to work with all kinds of different people. It's being able to handle conflict in a constructive way. And it's the simple but super powerful act of active listening. I mean, really hearing what someone is saying, not just waiting for your turn to speak. Okay, so building right on top of that empathy, we have our second power skill, communication and influence. It's not enough to just understand people. You've got to be able to make yourself understood, too. And let's be real, we're drowning in noise and information. If you can cut through that, that's a superpower. And we're not just talking about being clear. Modern communication is about persuasion. It's about being able to take, a boring spreadsheet or a bunch of data points and turn it into a story, a human story that actually connects with people, gets them on the same page, and gets them excited to take action. This is where things like persuasive speaking, masterful storytelling, and even public speaking come in. It's also about the crucial skill of giving constructive feedback, the kind that actually helps people grow and get better, instead of just tearing them down. All right, number 3. In a world that just will not stop changing, this next one is absolutely essential. Critical thinking and adaptability. This is your anchor when things get uncertain and your compass when things get complicated. And I want to zoom in on one part of this, resilience. The source material calls it a survival trait, and that's exactly what it is. This isn't just about being tough. It's way deeper than that. It's having the flexibility to bounce back from a setback, to actually learn from failure, and to see change as an opportunity instead of a threat. But it's not just resilience, right? This whole area also includes things like systems thinking, which is being able to see how everything is connected, not just the individual pieces, plus making good calls when you're under pressure, and having that learning agility to just constantly evolve. Okay, moving on to number 4, collaboration and leadership. Look, an AI can crunch numbers like nobody's business, but it can't do what we do when we work together. It can't replicate that messy, creative, powerful magic of true human collaboration. And this leads to a really modern and super important way of thinking about leadership. It's not about your job title. It's about your ability to influence, to inspire, and to create momentum no matter where you sit in the organization. Now that is real leadership today. And you see this kind of leadership when people are empowering their teams, when they're delegating the right way, and when they're mentoring the folks coming up behind them. It's how you build a stronger, more resilient organization from the ground up. All right, our fifth and final power skill. And this is what really separates us from the machines: ethics, purpose, and self-leadership. Because a machine runs on logic, on ones and zeros, we run on values. And this is so critical. An algorithm can automate a decision based on a pile of data. But weighing fairness, thinking about the long-term impact on real people, that takes ethical reasoning. That right there, that's the difference between simple automation and real wisdom. And you know what? It all starts with self-awareness. When you understand your own values and you're driven by a clear sense of purpose, you can prioritize what actually matters and take full accountability for your actions and the impact they have. So look, the big takeaway here isn't that it's humans versus machines. It's all about synergy. Let the AI handle the how, all the repetitive tasks, the data crunching. That frees us up to focus on the why, setting the vision, making the tough ethical calls, and building the relationships. And when you get that right, the result is incredible. You get trust, you get resilience, and you get real, true innovation. So at the end of the day, here's what it all boils down to. These 5 power skills are your greatest competitive advantage. They are what make you uniquely, powerfully, and irreplaceably human. And mastering them is how you future-proof your career and honestly how you build organizations that are actually built to last. So I'm going to leave you with a question to think about. Which of these power skills are you going to intentionally focus on building first? Because your future and the future of how we all work really depends on it.